Well, whenever it starts. Okay, hey everybody. This is Spiritual Stud.
And I am MT, baby.
And we want to welcome you to another edition of Just My Opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long week.
Mm-hmm.
And the clown has been at it again. But we're not going to talk about the clown today. We are going to talk about cults.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that MT wanted to talk about. So I'm going to just turn it over to you.
All right, so my beloved listeners, this week I got hooked watching this show called Cults and Extreme Beliefs.
Oh yeah, good show.
Oh man, it had me captivated just as a study of humankind and human nature, because I was like, wow, that's what they do. Interesting. So the two stories that I saw, to sum it up, one of them was called The Army of God. Now, some of you may have heard it in the tabloids or whatever. This was the lady that was running this organization just went to jail last year. Okay. This woman and her husband, they start this cult, this religious cult. They were Christian and then they went right or left, whichever way you want. They went somewhere with it that was not Christian-like. They got a compound. They started getting people onto the compound living there. Well, the story that they portrayed on the show was about this woman's story who had joined the cult.
Okay.
This woman was young. She was 16. She was having problems at home with her mother. She was alcoholic and doing drugs, and some guy she knew introduced her to these people. And at first, she was like, this is great because I'm no longer doing drugs. You know, I'm trying to live my best life for God. And her mom, everybody thought it was a good thing. They had her get married really young. She had her first baby at like 18. And then she started seeing what the real deal was, which was they was crazy pants, and they was doing way too damn much. Okay, so the first thing was they sent her and her husband out to make money for this cult, and they were like, you know, they made like products like lotions and soaps and like homemade food, whatever, and sold it at different fairs. Like cookies and pies and whatnot, and sold it at the fairs. That's how they made money for this group. Okay. So they sent her and her husband, but they kept the kid. Mm-hmm. And then one day her husband comes back from a trip, and the kid has a busted head, and they're trying to figure out what happened, and they said that they disciplined him with a board with a nail in it, and the kid got hit with the nail.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So at that point, she had doubts, but she did not leave. Okay. Then it was another woman whose story they were telling. Now this woman, even though she was involved in it, she was like, she always had a bit of skepticism about what they were doing. And the leader of the church, she didn't like that because she could notice the skepticism in her. Yeah. So she kept pushing her to discipline her children harder and all this kind of stuff. So finally the lady was being so disobedient, so she says, that they locked her in a closet in the compound. This is a grown woman. Now this woman with kids, okay? Grown woman, locked her in the closet in the compound for days, starved her for days, told her she had to fast and pray, all kinds of craziness. Long story short, they finally got out, both of them. The one lady that got locked in the closet got out first. Yeah. The other lady, she stayed until her child was 16 years old. And the only reason why she left was because the woman, the leader, told her that her son, who was now questioning everything, she said, you're going to have to leave him on the side of the road somewhere. Like literally, like no backpack, no water, no food, no clothes. Just drive around someplace and drop him off. Your child. Wow. And she couldn't do it. And so that's what forced her to leave. But that was like 16 years in. Okay?
Right.
Okay, so the second show, to try to hurry up. Okay, so the second show was this black guy. He called himself Yahweh being Yahweh.
Oh, man.
When I say my crazy pants. Oh, Lord have mercy. This man called himself the Black God.
Yeah, he was on the he used to be on radio here. I used to see him on what's that? It's not the KPRT.
Was it K-Love?
No. It's one of it's not KPRT, but the other one. I can't think of the name of it. Yeah, but y'all might be. And then he used to be on. No, it wasn't the radio station. Excuse me. It was TV.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to see him on TV,
okay. Mm-hmm.
And it was a local channel because they were like the Hebrew Israelites or something like that.
And at the end they would have the shalom and all that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This dude. Okay. First of all, he started this group. He was getting money from the members of the group, the cult. And they would always buy a compound. What is it with the compound?
Because
they want to keep them under control. But he bought this shopping center that wasn't even set up for like residential nothing.
Right.
But he started putting cots and stuff in there and filling it up. Got buses and everything. By the end, he had over 10,000 followers. This dude did. Anyway, he didn't start off calling himself Black Jesus. At first, he was calling himself something else, but then he changed his name. This is the part that gets me. The grown men, okay, because they're telling from the perspective of this man who joined the cult. Grown men, he decided one day to get all the grown men into a room and he was going to have a ritual cleansing. Went in the room, told the dude who's telling the story here, handed him this little thing, this little zip-up thing that had a scalpel in it. Told the man to drop their drawers, and anybody that wasn't circumcised, they was cutting the skin off. And I'm talking about no anesthetic, baby, no medical training, no nothing. Just drop your drawers, and if you're not circumcised, you're about to get today. Yeah, then that ain't even half of it. The women, he was having sex with them, telling them that, do you want my seed?
A lot of them do that.
Then he was having like these fake midwives come to people's houses when the women had babies, because he said he didn't want the government knowing how many members it really was. He didn't want them to have social security numbers, all that kind of stuff. Dude was crazy. Besides the murders and killings that they was doing in the name of this group, I mean, that was the easy stuff. This stuff was crazy. So it got me to thinking.
Wow.
And when I get to thinking, the smoke starts pouring out. And so I said, well, this kind of feels familiar in this 2018. This whole cult mindset is starting to me feel real uncomfortable. Now see, I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, and to this day I don't think that Seventh-day Adventist is a cult. But when I was young, coming up in school, in Christian Seventh-day Adventist school, they used to tell us, people are going to think you're in a cult. And I was like, me with my hand up. I'm like, if people think we're in a cult, does that mean we're in a cult? Why would they think that if we didn't have some cult-like tendencies?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's break it down. This is what the Webster says. It says a cult is a religion regarded as unorthodox or spurious. Don't know what that word means, forgive me. It's a body of adherence to said cult. Like they gave the example, voodoo cult or satanic cult. It's great devotion to a person, idea, object, or movement. Okay. Don't that sound real familiar in this 2018? I'm just saying, baby. Because this is what, as like I said, I like to look at people's behavior and try to figure out why. Why? Like you a whole grown up. You're not a little kid. You're not being forced into it, as a child where you can't do nothing about it.
Right.
Like these are grown people. A grown man comes at your Peter Bug with a scalpel in the name of Black Jesus, and you just supposed to, okay, yeah, just cut the skin off. I'm cool with that. Like, what goes on in your brain to make you think it's okay? So, this leads me to my point, which is the cults that we are seeing currently pop up that are just not, a cult by definition does not necessarily mean religious.
Right, exactly.
Okay, it's adherence to and great devotion to something.
Right.
Okay, and those of us who are spiritually minded, or those people want to call themselves Christian or Buddhist or whatever, it's like you are supposed to devote yourself to your higher power. Okay, and your higher power is supposed to lead you in all things. Just like in these cults, they have forgot all about God and was listening to the people.
Right.
That was leading the cult. And that's where the messiness and the ridiculousness comes from. Is you forgot about what initially the idea was, and it starts branching off into some strangeness.
Yeah.
Okay? And you also look at the behavior of the leaders of the cult.
Yes.
Because these people, first of all, you can't just walk up to no stranger and be like, hey, how you doing? Would you like to join my cult? And you got to have some charm, some charisma. You got to have something about you that makes people go, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And plus, they're not going to come at you saying it's a cult.
Right.
I'm not going to say that, but like I remember when I was young, they used to make us go door to door and pass out little pamphlets and talk to people. I hated it.
Was that like Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yes, honey, yes.
Well, they're considered a cult.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm like 10 years old with a pamphlet. I don't know half the stuff means. Knocking on doors, nervous, because you don't know if they got a dog. You don't know if they're going to slam the door in your face, cuss you out. We was going door to door, talking about we spreading the word of God. And I remember that uneasy feeling, to be like, what's going to make somebody listen to me?
Right.
What appeal do I have? What approach do you use to try to draw people in? Like I said, I think about the leaders of these cults. Like, they have to be charismatic. Every cult that's ever been, they always say the same thing about the leaders. The people who are still alive, they're like, oh, they were so charismatic. Okay, they're charismatic. You know what they do? They feel a need.
Exactly.
They feel a need.
Exactly.
And I wrote about this in my first book. Talk a little bit more, then I'm gonna pass it over. In my first book, Privileged Conversations, shameless plug, it's available on Amazon. It talks about dating, and it talks about if you were in the dating world and you're looking for somebody to match your sexy, okay, you're gonna look for whatever you're lacking. If you're a single mom and you got 2 kids and they're young, first of all, you're tired.
Right.
You're tired.
Yep.
You're tired all the time. You broke. Okay, and here comes Superman flying in, and he's volunteering to watch the kids while you take a nap. He's volunteering to pay a bill or 2. He may not be the ideal mate for you, but because he's filling that void, you may just give him a chance. He may be a woman beaten jerk.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? But you will give that man a chance because you tired and you broke. Same thing with religion. Lonely. When you go, and I'm sorry to put it out here like this, but it's the truth, baby. You go to some of these African American churches filled with lonely old women.
Yeah. And that's true.
Lonely. Hoping, I remember when my daddy was single after my mom had passed. And I remember the church, my dad, handsome man, you know what I'm saying? So he'd go into church with his tall frame, and the women would be like, oh, Mr. Carr, looking for a husband. Because it wasn't that many single men in a church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So some of them coming out of sheer loneliness. They need community.
Right.
They need to find somebody. They need something to do.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why they was going. Then you got some people that's there who actually have ulterior motives. You know, I've heard comedians joke about, want to find you a good woman, go to church.
Yeah.
You know, they joke about it, but seriously, there's some people that's sitting in some churches and synagogues and whatever whose frame of mind had nothing to do with God. You know, they there because they got their own agenda they trying to push through.
Right.
So when you got all of this going on, the point is, how do you keep yourself from being caught up in the madness before it's too late? Because I'm telling you right now, what I see about this administration and the things that are branching off of it, and the people that are just have this cult-like mindset. It says a great devotion to a person, an idea, an object, or a movement.
Yeah.
And how do you keep yourself from being that one who's just so devoted that you got on blinders and you can't see left nor right?
Right.
What say you?
Well, I thought of that too, but because when I started doing my research, I saw the ones, one of the ones that stuck out. I think it's called Axiom, something like that, where it was more like a inspirational kind of group. They were, I mean, one of them that became one of the co-leaders was an actress that was in Smallville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she in jail now. But because I mean they had people that are very intelligent. They were looking for ways to try to upgrade themselves. You know. And this guy says, well, I've got the way. You know. And he had these women acting like a harem. And he branded them. He branded them with his initials and some with her initials. So, you know, like you said, what is it that trips in your brain that you say this is okay? You know, because you ain't gonna brand me. Now, I know frats brand.
Right.
But that's voluntary. You wanted to cross over. You wanted to be in the frat. There you go.
You know that comes with the territory.
That's exactly. But you're not branding me because we're trying to go a little higher. See, that's for me. If you have to look outside to be able to go higher, that's where the problem lies.
There it is.
That's where the problem lies, because people always looking on the outside, and you know where that comes from? Erroneous preaching. That comes from being led, not being a leader. You know, everybody's not a leader, but you can't follow everybody.
There it is.
And the thing is that once you start following just anybody just because they say they got the answer, it's a problem. See, I'm not that person because I got to look you up. I got to Google. You know, I got to find out what are you about. Because, like, I was watching... I was with my mom and we were watching one of the episodes. And they were talking, well, it wasn't even an episode of that, they were just talking about cults. And you know, the big main one they talk about all the time is Jonestown.
Jonestown, yeah.
And they said, and this is where they drank the Kool-Aid came from. Because we all know they drank grape flavor aid with cyanide.
With cyanide in it.
And how, you know, but these people, he took them to a whole new country. So really, where could they go? And then when the people came to investigate, he killed them. A congressman, you know. So they didn't have any escape, honestly. They really didn't. But I watched an episode of a young lady who actually started doing yoga. And in in the yoga class, they would scream and scream and scream until they were hoarse. Now, I've heard Tony Robbins say to pump himself up when he first started, he would be driving in his car on the way to one of his seminars, and he would just, just screaming, trying to pump himself up. And she said they would do that, and she had videos of them doing that until they just were hoarse. And she said she was so zoned out spiritually. That was their thing. You stay there. You stay on the spiritual high. You cannot think. She's like, I couldn't think critically because I was always zen. And for her, it's like after a while, that's all you do. You go, you do your yoga, you're screaming, you're zen. You're zenned out. And it's like getting high. And you're so high till you can't think. They're thinking for you now. So you turn over everything voluntarily because you're gone. And, for me, it's like I'm a person that does meditate. I believe in it. But I'm not a person that needs outside guidance like some people need that.
Right.
When I first learned how to do it, I didn't go to a class. I didn't, I sat down and I did it with music. And I slowly taught myself how to just get quiet, how to just get still. The problem is too many people want somebody to hold their hand through things and never let it go. You got to be okay with them saying, okay, fly little bird. But a cult is the one that'll say, you can't fly without me.
Without me.
And I'm not here to put any kind of belief down, religion down, but just because they had it on the show, Jehovah's Witness, they had the lady on the show. And the stuff that she talked about, the sexual abuse, and they're covering it up. And she said even when she's 16 years old and still telling the same story, she and her cousin, and they said, don't lie on this man. And then I did not know that you had to write a letter to be dismissed. So you were dismissed. And I saw another episode with the Jehovah's Witness and this lady's mother. They're bad as Scientologists. They shun you. Your parents, your family's broken up if you leave the church. So something's wrong with that.
Yeah.
You should be able to walk away. You should be able to walk away from any belief. If it no longer serves you, go. But they're saying you can't go. You got to write a letter. Then you can't see your mother. And her mother wrote her letter. She said, I hope you make the right decision and come back to the church because I miss you. And of course, the daughter is like, but she said her son, she had a son. He saved her. No, I can't. I can't go back. And like you said, bringing it full circle to what's happening now. You watch people with these glazed over eyes and they're believing everything this man says, but you won't even believe your lying eyes. Ain't that a song? You believe your lying eyes. It wasn't me. What Shaggy say?
Yeah.
It wasn't me. She saw me on the sofa, but it wasn't me. She saw us in the shower. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Again, what's wrong with you people? I mean, really, this guy goes to Russia. I thought we were going to talk about it, but here we are. Goes to Russia and says, tell you what, President Putin's strong and powerful in his denial. Dude, you just made us look so, you didn't make me look so, because really that was you up there, But of course they're going to say America, but trust and believe, the world doesn't believe that it's the country.
Right.
The world believes that she is.
Him.
And I'm just like you. Are they being led to the slaughter?
Yes.
And we, because they're thinking that they're getting ready to go to heaven. Honestly, that's what's happening with them. They're so caught up in believing that Trump is the one that's going to get the Third World War started So Jesus can come riding on his white horse. And somebody said they already was told, God told them that the red horse was riding already. One of them, black, red, one of them was riding already.
The 4 winds have been released.
Listen, y'all need to understand. This is one thing that I believe in: education. Educate yourselves, especially on this end of the world stuff. You got to educate yourself, because it's a sad situation, but the sadness of it is that they're going to be so far gone into, we're ready to leave, we just waiting on Jesus to come, that they're not paying attention to what is happening to this country. And so those of us who aren't, I guess we're going to be the ones left behind.
I guess so.
Those of us who are left behind have to be the ones to stand up and make sure that this country is okay.
Right.
And it's funny because it's gonna be all the sinners.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
Because the Christians, the evangelicals, they waiting on Jesus. Now they're not even paying attention anymore.
We have said it so many times on this show, over and over again. You can be so blindly walking into something that is bad for you because you're focused on hating other people.
Right.
Look at what happened with that bathroom bill.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The people were so up in arms, transgender people in the bathroom,
Right.
They didn't even read the other little stuff they snuck in that bill that affected other people.
Right.
But that's how the great manipulators work.
Right.
That's how these cult leaders work.
Right.
Is they get you riled up,
Right.
and they get you to a point where you will justify just about anything.
Yeah.
And to me, what's sad is when I hear the word cult, it comes with a certain harshness. I don't think not maybe the one friend I have is be proud to say that they're in a cult. Okay, so most people, you hear that word and it has a connotation and a stigma to it that it's like, that ain't me.
Right.
I don't want no part of that.
Right.
But at the same time, if your behavior is devotion to a person, an idea, a movement, you are in that cult mindset.
Yeah.
That's where you are. A great devotion. Will you give up your life? Will you give up your finances? Will you give up your sanity? Will you give up your morals, your ethics? All the things that you in here know to be right.
Yeah.
If you are willing to give up that in order to keep your devotion, you're in a cult. And this is what I see about 45 supporters.
Yeah.
Because this is beyond normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the first thing out of your mouth, if we're having a discussion about something 45 did, is a regurgitation of something he said, that shows me right there you have no ability to think for yourself. As a teacher, we used to tell students, don't just write verbatim what's in the book.
Right. Right.
Think about it, come up with your own way. You could say the same thing, but say it in your own way.
Right.
That way I know you understand what's going on.
Right.
If you just keep spitting back the same thing that's been given to you, that shows that you don't have an ability to think for yourself. And see, not only is it 45, but I'm talking about our LGBT people who are still going to these religions / cults where in your heart that every time you go to church, every time you go to synagogue service, whatever, people is in there, and the ministers and the priests and the rabbis, all of them, who are just flesh and blood people,
Right.
keep telling you about you going to hell, you're going to this, you're doing wrong. Come on, people. It is cult-like. If your devotion is to something other than God itself, you in a cult.
Yeah.
I need you to really seriously think about this, because I need you to understand where you are and where you're headed. Because yeah, you could be in a cult. That's your choice. You have free will. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
You can join any kind of cult. Join several. You know, but the consequences to your life.
Yeah.
You sitting there, you feeling some type of way because of the things that you're hearing from these leaders that really aren't leaders.
Right.
Self-appointed leaders. Okay. You know, I was seeing some stuff recently about the churches. You know, if you're a gay pastor or minister, how they will acknowledge you in all of the congregations and all. It depends on the church. Because remember, we talked about that before. The new policy is you gays can come to our church. We welcome you to our church. We are open and affirming. Yeah. But don't let you be a pastor.
Right.
Because that's going to go church by church.
Yeah.
This church, this church, sure. You know, come on now. Get on the same page. If you're going to this denomination and they're telling you can be a pastor here but not over there, what is that? What is that? No. It's devotion to a person. And sometimes you're not living your best self.
Right.
If every waking moment you're not thinking about how can I live my best self, you are wasting time. Because let me tell you something, time is short. Life is short.
Yeah.
And I'll leave with this little note is I had a discussion with a friend of mine who's Jehovah's Witness. And they kept telling me about the Jehovah's Bible and all this. And I sat there and I listened for quite a while. And finally I said, I got a question. What if, just what if, all this stuff that you've been taught and all this that you're doing, and you die and you find out that you were wrong?
Well, you know,
just what if?
They ask that all the time. I mean, Christians ask that. What if you die and you find out that Jesus really was the Son of God, you know, and you didn't believe it? So the thing is that they always say, why don't you just believe, just in case?
Just in case,
right? What if you got to lose? Oh, wait a minute. Who said that?
Well said that.
What if you got to lose?
Yikes.
Yeah. I heard this guy. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I heard this guy say he went to his barbershop, and he's a black guy. And he said he was shocked because in his barbershop, they were black guys saying, well, Trump, this is before he got elected. Trump said, well, what have you got to lose? And he was like, everything. This is the problem. This is the problem. There was nothing there for black folks. Nothing there for LGBT except him holding up a flag. Nothing. But what came out of his mouth? What have you got to lose? What do you got to lose? And I'm sorry to say, your minds.
Everything. You got everything.
You got your mind. You have lost your ever-loving minds because you're believing everything this dude say. You're being distracted by the shiny things because behind the shiny things, they're doing dirt. They're doing dirt. I just was listening to something on NPR today on the way over. And it was talking about
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Because you notice how through this whole Putin fiasco, we just now getting back to where's the rest of the kids in this whole immigration crisis.
Oh, but
ain't nobody even talking about Puerto Rico and Flint, Michigan no more.
Jennifer Lewis is. But let's get back to let's talk about this. Also, they passed a bill tightening the rules on working for food, food stamps and work. I mean, the very people, as we always say, the very people that need help, they're crushing you, and you don't even realize it. You're so busy hating people and longing for a time that's gone You're longing for something you didn't even have, man.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to go back. Well, there ain't no back. There ain't no back.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to tell you, but they're crushing you people. They're I'm not on food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
I have a job.
Me either.
And I just went grocery shopping today. With money. So what I'm saying, I'm just saying, is that some things that they're doing will affect me.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I know this.
Mm-hmm.
But the most things that they're doing, it's affecting folks that need help.
Mm-hmm.
And you, not all of you,
Mm-hmm.
but some of you have made the decision to ride the Trump boat.
Mm-hmm.
And that boat has hit an iceberg. And it's sinking, baby. It's
And
sinking.
just to further look, you gotta look to people. I learned a hard lesson when I was young, and that was each of us are human.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. When you find out your dad's not a superhero, you find out your pastor's not perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a gut punch for you.
Yeah.
Because when you're young and you coming up, you look at these figures like, there's nothing they can do that's bad.
Right.
There's nothing they can do that's wrong. And then we start putting them up on that pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And we think, oh, there's nothing they can do. I'm going to look to them because they have proven themselves to be worthy. But you know what they are? Human.
Human. Fallible.
Oh, man. And that's a hard gut punch when you finally realize that the person that you put on that pedestal does not deserve to be there. And I think that's a lot of people are doing with this dude. 45, he's out there doing these rallies and people just so excited to see him and can't wait to, shake his hand and talk to him. And they say they love what he's doing. They love what he's doing. But see, what you don't realize is you are like cult worshiping this dude. Cult worshiping. To the fact you cannot hear the truth about anything else besides what's going on. Because, like I said, grown men, black men. This man comes along, says he's Black Jesus. He got a scalpel. He want to cut on your peanut butter. Did nobody he didn't put a gun to their head. He didn't say, here, take this drug, let me help you get ready. Like, none of that. Just a scalpel and a man who says he's God, and you just gonna drop your drawers and let some man do it. There's a disconnect there. And I feel like the two, the Yahweh being Yahweh, the army of God, the 45s people, all under the same umbrella. And some of our LGBT fam too, y'all all under the same umbrella.
Yeah. Because
you cannot think for yourself.
Y'all better just step out into the rain. Get out from under that umbrella.
And not only that, we still have a conscience. We still have a heart. I'm sorry, but if somebody come at you with some nonsense, even if it's just the nonsense of you going to hell, you gotta get at peace with the fact that you're not going to hell because of who you are. I don't care how many times ministers tell me, and trust me, they told us, ain't they?
Yeah.
They done told us, I done heard it every which way you can say it. Whether it's the fire and the brimstone, one of my pastors said you're going to bust hell wide open, gasoline draws on. I mean, there's so many ways you can say it. I done heard each and every way. And guess what? Guess who don't fear hell? This one right here. Because, no, I don't. I don't have no fear, no concern, not worried about it because of who I love. But it took me a long while to get here. See what I'm saying? And so if you keep listening to what people will tell you, they will tear you down.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's from people who you trust.
Right.
And you put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the person right next door.
Yeah.
In your house. One of your family members.
Yeah.
Your mother, your sister, your brother, somebody. They're going to tell you some stuff. But let me tell you something. You got to get right with your insides.
That's it. That's it. Say it again.
You got to get right with your insides. You You got to get right with that. When you get right with that, can't nobody tell you nothing.
Right. That's it.
People tell me I'm going to hell. I hear it quite a bit because I like to get into Facebook arguments with people. So I put myself out there, and I hear it all a lot.
Oh, man.
You're going to hell because your lifestyle is homosexual. Read the Bible. I done read it, and guess what? I'm good. No fear. I'm good because I got right with my gut. See what I'm saying? Got right with it, and this relationship is good. No problems over here. So anyway, that was just what I want to do because I thought it was real interesting. Like I said, just as a study of human nature and people, I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, that people would allow such foolishness, you know, but there are components that go with it. And I just want all of us, including myself, to do a checklist about what am I devoting myself to. With great devotion. What am I devoting myself to that may not be for me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
All right. I will say this, and then we'll be out of here. When people tell you to read the Bible, understand this. What helps me, and what has helped me really grow and understand is, yes, reading the Bible, but also understand the history of the Bible, the history of who wrote the Bible, and where those words that they use to attack us, where they came from. Because if you understand the words and then the culture behind the words, that'll help you. It'll go a long way, and we're gonna do a show. One day we're gonna do a show about that, and that might be the show that we ask Pastor D.
That sounds great.
To be on with us. So
and don't deny facts. There's some things in this world that just are undeniable. Don't deny it. You know, I don't care. Some stuff is just true. I need you to accept that.
Yeah.
It'll make your life easier to just accept truth where truth is.
Truth is in the eye of the beholder. They might be saying, y'all need to accept truth.
Right.
Anyway, anything else?
That's it.
All right, so before we go, we gotta, of course, give a shout out to our Whosoever family, Pastor Dion, First Lady Lee. We had a good Fellowship Friday. It was very enjoyable. And anybody else we need to say hi to?
Always Chuck,
Casey. All right. So I am Spiritual Stud,
and I am MT, baby.
Thanks again for listening. We are out of here. Peace.